apologize for starting a little bit late. So we have a very important conversation coming up for you this morning. It's not one of those, our usuals, right? But this is really very critical for every home. Every caregiver, this conversation is really very important. Everybody who desires a baby, it's really important that you're tuned in and listening. Even if you have had all your babies like me, right? I'm sure you're probably planning to become a grandma. There's somebody close to you who may still be actively in the childbirth era. So everybody needs this education. We're talking about newborns, neonatal jaundice, and everything you need to know about it. What's interesting is that it is looking as though, everybody thinks that it's very normal when you have a child and the child is jaundiced, the child is yellow. Okay, yeah, it's a normal thing. You do a sunbath for a few days and it will go. But interestingly, until I had a baby, I never heard about neonatal jaundice. So in a lot of cases, so many people wouldn't know until they have babies. And yes, if you don't know, you just may be laxed about it. And if it's not detected early and properly treated, the consequences could be dire for the child and the whole family. And this month of May as well is also an awareness creation month for neonatal jaundice, which could end up making your child suffer from cerebral palsy. So let's get educated this morning, shall we? My guest this morning, Major Dr. Inafuta. He is a pediatrician. Oh, she is a pediatrician. I have Mr. Is it Mr. Michelle? Mr. Michael?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Michael Kwabna Odro Osei. He is a parent and he will be sharing his story with us. And then Priscilla is here with baby Kote. She's also a parent and she will be sharing her journey with us as well. So Doc, Michael and Priscilla, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
You.
How are we doing?
Great.
Yellow alert. What does it mean? Doc, you might want to take that.
Yes. So every year in the month of May, we conduct this neonatal jaundice awareness, and the colors to signify that is yellow. And as we all know, when a child is jaundiced, the skin appears yellow. So then this yellow color takes our mind to the skin change that occurs when a child has neonatal jaundice. And when we say neonatal jaundice, it means jaundice and neonates. A neonate is a child within the age of 0 to 28 days.
Okay.
So a newborn with from 0 to 1 month old is a neonate. And then jaundice is the yellowing of the skin and then the eyes that occurs in this age group. So that's basically what neonatal jaundice means. And What makes the skin appear yellow?
We'll be getting into we'll be
that's
getting into
fine.
that. So I just wanted us to understand why we are all doing yellow and yellow alert, and you didn't give me one of the T-shirts,
We'll bring yours later.
which is making me very sad right now. But that's okay, and I'm very happy that we're having this conversation. We've had pockets of these conversations, but it's important that when we are creating the awareness, we also join in creating, a lot more awareness around it. I have had my own experience with it. I'm hoping I have shared it a couple of times, but then, when the need be, I'll share again, and how I had to hook a doctor and go like, you are the cause of this. Because when I was telling the doctor about it, I'd had a first child, and the child was jaundiced, and I was told. So then I became conscious. When I had a second, which were a set of twins, and I noticed the same thing, and I alerted the doctor. He said, some of you parents are too known. But after a couple of days, they ended up under the photo, and I met him in Kolebu. He felt the wrath of a parent. Okay, great. Michael.
Hello.
Unfortunately for us, your child ended up with cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Please share the story with us briefly.
Well, it all started when mother had pneumonia.
Before then, did you know about neonatal jaundice at all?
No, not at all.
I
used to
never
go to the
heard.
hospital, never read about anything concerning it.
Wow.
I never heard about it. Never.
Okay. And this child is your third?
Yes, my
your
third.
third.
Yeah.
So you didn't hear about it during the first one?
No.
The second one?
No.
And okay, I'm asking these questions because I'll come back to doctor to ask a very important question. Let's go on.
So mother had pneumonia when fetus was about 7 months and 4 days. And then in the course of treating her, we had baby preterm. So it was a surprise to all of us. And that alone was a pressure. Then 2 days after, I saw the yellowish eyes and the skin. Then I complained about it, and the doctor said there was nothing wrong. So I rushed him to the clinic and insisted that they did a lab test.
The doctor said there was nothing
He
wrong.
said he didn't see anything wrong with
Jesus.
the child. So I insisted on the lab test, and then they said it will come after 2 days. After 2 days, that was 4 days after delivery. Then he asked us to accept referral to the next hospital, and that was the district hospital near us. So we rushed baby there, and then we were on admission. I thought they would have asked us to do other things, because then I started reading about it. And I was expecting.
But by which time had you been told what was happening?
When we took the lab report,
Okay.
then we were told that jaundice is confirmed, neonatal jaundice is confirmed. So
Okay.
they couldn't treat it at the clinic, so we should go to the district hospital.
Wow.
Then I got to the hospital, I started reading on my phone, so I was expecting certain things to be done.
Yeah.
But I wasn't seeing it that way, and they were trying to make me relax and calm me down. So others were saying I needed a counselor to talk to me because I was reacting funny.
How about your wife?
Well, she was not in a state of her own. I mean, she couldn't understand why the third child will have this trouble. We've been delivered, we are home, and then I was insisting that something was wrong. And then it was confirmed. So it was now like I was a light.
So it means that right after delivery you were discharged?
A day after.
Okay, she was okay, so you were discharged.
Yes.
And then you noticed it at home?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was how it happened. And they insisted on the phototherapy.
Yeah.
And I was also insisting on other things I thought will help. Then they had to take me out of the ward for some time because they thought I was disturbing the peace there.
Wow.
It went back and forth until I accepted that we will continue treatment with them. We spent 2 weeks, and then we came home. I thought everything was fine. In fact,
But after 2 weeks, were you told that baby was okay?
yes, the doctors discharged us, and they said everything was fine, and we should just continue with nutrition and do the sun bath in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
If we see anything new, we can come back.
Do you remember what sort of treatment baby was given before you were discharged?
No,
Okay. Okay.
no. So it was after 2 months, I realized that he was not behaving as I was expecting. Sometimes he couldn't lie on his back, and then you could see that he was shaking. So I started reading more about such signs, and then I was told it was post-jaundice trauma.
Jesus.
And that was where I realized that something wasn't right. Then I insisted on going to a bigger facility because I didn't like the experience at the district hospital.
Yeah.
And we finally ended up at 37. We went through a bit of treatment. Actually, it was too late then because doctors said that it was emerging. So we couldn't reverse at that moment. The blood transfusion and other treatments I was expecting, it was just beyond the timing because it was almost 3 months at the time we got to 37.
Were they considering what the doctors would call the exchange blood transfusion?
Yes, that was what I was insisting at the district hospital.
Oh, because you had read around it.
Yes.
You had become a mini doctor.
Right at the hospital. I was reading. I wanted to know what I could do to help.
Yeah.
I felt things were not being done as fast as I expected.
True.
So that was when they felt I was also reacting too much. I was being, I was unusual the way I was reacting, calling the doctors and asking them to do certain things
and
faster.
In our parlance, you are labeled too known.
Yes, many of them said. Some nurses took me out and said, I'll be too know, that kind of thing.
I know that, pa.
It wasn't easy for me.
Oh.
But I had to go through it.
And at 37, you were told that it was too late.
Yes, so we started doing several tests to confirm other things that they were expecting may not be working with him. The eyes, the ears, we checked the skin for other responses. And then later they gave me to a neurosurgeon that I was visiting regularly. And then I was also asked to go and see the physiotherapist for any other measures. It was until 5 months that we started full physiotherapy.
Wow.
And so by that time, I had accepted it. And so I knew we had a challenge that we had to work about to get it right. And that was where I took it on from there.
So how old is...
He will be 4 this July, first July.
And what's the situation with him?
We are still on therapy, physiotherapy. He's able to move a bit. He's not able to sit. He can't stand. He can't walk. He can't talk.
Oh. So what it is that he is now confirmed to have cerebral palsy?
Yes, it's from the situation, it's a confirmation.
Oh, God.
It's a confirmation.
How's mommy taking it?
At first, it wasn't easy. But now, with my support and the rest of the family and the medics around us, I think she's better. We had to go through counseling. I insisted that one too because I realized she was also not able to understand some of the things. And I remember one night she woke me up and asked, how come she had the first 2, they were okay? And then the third one is like that, you know.
That's a problem.
It wasn't easy.
That's a problem. So at 4, you still have to carry him about like a baby, everything?
Yeah. I have a nanny now at home. So when we go to work, she takes care of him during the day. And then we come and take over in the nights. On weekends, we are with him. I've learned a lot of the therapies that we do, physiotherapy. So I go through a lot with him, you know.
So you still have to, he still has to wear diapers and all that?
Yeah, he's still in diapers. He has to be checked regularly because he cannot talk. We feed him at certain times and periods. He can hear any communication around, but he cannot respond the way we expect. So we always have to assume. Maybe if he needs water, we use 2 or 3 items. We present them to him, and then
he will choose.
The one that he is gearing towards, we know that this is what he wants. And then we have to give it to him.
Wow. Doc, will he recover?
Well, once he has cerebral palsy, is as father has already understood, we don't expect him to
fully recover.
Exactly, like maybe a child who doesn't have cerebral palsy, but the aim is that with physiotherapy and then the other interventions, he will gain some function, like maybe being able to sit or even working with supports, because now there are certain aids that could help with that. But may not be able to work on his own. But even if he can't, probably there may be a little instability in the gaits. But generally, he will not be like the child who doesn't have cerebral palsy. So the aim of the physiotherapy is to better his situation, because without that, it's just going to be like a static. But with the physiotherapy, to help him gain some function.
Michael, I'm sorry we had to put you through this this morning. To have a man share his story and shed tears, you should know what he's going through. I'm really sorry about your situation. Priscilla, I'll come to you very shortly. In Priscilla's case, at least we have a success there. But I was asking, some questions when Michael was, sharing his story. First question, and that's why I said I was going to come to you, Doc. So he said that he had a first child, had a second. He never knew about neonatal jaundice, never heard about it until he had his third child. Michael, was your wife attending antenatals even with the first two regularly?
The first one was at 37.
Okay. So, Doc,
the second one too.
Yeah. Based on that, my question is, why is this not part of antenatal classes?
So I know that normally it's part of the things that we educate the parents on. There are lots of other things we tell them, not just about neonatal jaundice, about even doing antenatal classes, about the care of the pregnant woman, what she should look out for. And then also for us, when after delivery, before they go home, we give them at least some information before what to look out for when they go home. And we realize that even though we are doing that, it's still not adequate. That is why we dedicate a whole month of May to that, to make sure that if there is any information that hasn't gone through, this would also get to the rest of the population.
No, Doc, you are running too fast for me. For a lot of people, when you get pregnant for the first time, that's when it dawns on you that, okay, my life is going to be a bit different. And that's when you're going to start learning a lot of things. And we knowing, or you doctors knowing, that this is something that usually occur in children. I'm just wondering why we haven't made it a key part of, because you said earlier that the neonate is from day 1 to 28.
Yes.
Okay, so day 1 you have the baby. The baby, in his case, after day 1, the baby, mommy, they were discharged and they went home. Without any education on neonatal jaundice, they never knew about it. It's just the daddy that became curious. Reason why he started asking questions, and quite often he wasn't even giving the right answers. So, in this awareness month, or this awareness creation, I'm asking, isn't it about time we made it a key part of antenatal classes, so that the pregnant woman or the parents, the would-be parents, know that this is something that occur in newborns. So once you give birth, the baby drops and they bring your baby to you, you probably start looking out for it. Because if you're going home and they tell you, look out for this, there are so many other things you're looking out for. But if I have it at the back of my mind while I am pregnant, then I am very conscious, because it's a big problem, isn't it?
That's true. You're right about that. And for us as pediatricians, it's something we are always hammering on. But we also have to involve the other aspects of healthcare, other health workers, so that we all put in more efforts. Because you realize that even though we've been doing the education, but probably it's not going as far as you want it to go. That is why we are putting in more efforts in that now. And this is something we've been doing every year, because I know even about 2 years ago we've been having this once. There are a lot of conditions that we deal with. It's not only neonatal jaundice, so we deliberately dedicate a whole month to this jaundice education. So it's not just for the parents, as for other health workers, so that's like for his case, maybe where he went first, if the other health workers were conscious of it, they would have taken more interest in what he was saying when he talked about the neonatal jaundice. So this education we are doing this month is not just for parents alone, but it's for us and then other health workers, for everybody to know about it, whether you're pregnant, you're expecting, fathers, mothers, everybody, so that once the education is there, even if you don't pick it up, because you've had cases where a child is brought in jaundice and it's a relative who tells the mother that this child is jaundiced. That means the education has gone well with that person. So our aim is to target everybody, not just pregnant women alone.
Yes, so I think that it should start a lot with the health workers.
Yes,
because I think
exactly.
most of them do not know. So you should know that when pregnant, expectant mothers come to the facility, one of the things you should be educating them about is also neonatal jaundice. Because I am a bit upset because a condition that can render a child paralyzed for life, it's not one to treat lightly.
Yes, that's
and especially
true.
So when it is treatable.
Exactly.
It's not one to be taken lightly. So if you ask me and I am joining your campaign, it should be awareness right from day one, like when they come to the hospital and they are pregnant. Let them know all the things that they have to know. It's not like after 1 day, 2 days, the child is discharged. Tell the parent when you go home, look out for A, B, C, D. And then when it comes back. And when they come back, you know how we will not attach that sense of urgency to it. So the education before the delivery of the kids, for me, it's really very critical. The other question is, we'll go back for you to tell us a little bit about neonatal jaundice, how it occurs, and if it can be actually, prevented even whilst the woman is pregnant and all that. Before a baby and a mother are discharged to go home, there are lots of facilities that they don't even make you see the pediatrician. But then, apart from looking at the baby and saying, oh, baby is fine, mother is healthy, you people go home, what other things are done to ensure that the child is in a very good condition, mother as well, before they are let out of the hospital? So
normally when a child is born, we have steps. We have a lot of labor rooms have a checklist that they look at.
Okay.
Even if you go through road to health charts, the book that the mothers use, the mother and child record book. If you look at it, there's a lot of education about childcare and even for the mothers and the babies in that book. So some of the things that are mentioned in the book, aside the neonatal jaundice that we talked about, is if a child is noticed to be febrile, having poor feeding, having an unusual cry, all these things are mentioned and what the mother is supposed to do as when it is noticed. So for us, when a child is born, before going home, aside the delivery, the care of the baby, cleaning and all that's called care, eye care, also the child is given their first dose of their vaccine. Yeah. Then before that, also make sure we initiate breastfeeding. So one of the things that we are doing even to help with this neonatal jaundice is in early initiation of breastfeeding, making sure that the child is getting adequate nutrition. All these things help to prevent this neonatal jaundice. So even aside neonatal jaundice, like generally what we do for babies when they are born, the cleaning of the baby, the eye care, cord care, making sure that the baby is feeding well, and then also telling the mothers what to look out for when they go home. So like for a lot of places where you come, like once you see a pediatrician, we have a checklist that we make sure that all these things we go through with them before we discharge the babies. But not every place would have a pediatrician, as you do. In our environment, most of the places that you have probably are being managed by medical officers who may not be experts or specialists in pediatrics. So then they are doing what they can, but we still need a lot more education and training. So that is why we're coming back to this, the importance of this awareness month, so that for those who are providing the healthcare will be trained enough, adequately equipped to take care of these situations and prevent this from neonatal jaundice from happening in the first place.
Okay. Michael, what tests were done in your case before you were let out of the hospital?
I cannot really remember. Really remember.
Because I remember in my case, right? Every time they will call in a pediatrician to see the babies and everything. And there was a pediatrician, again, the same pediatrician. And I said that. And you know how they will tell you that when you press the baby and you see the yellow and all that. So I did, and I thought I saw something like that. This was even day 3, you know. And then he said, "You mothers, you are too known. There's nothing wrong with your child." And they were twins. Okay, so that should even make you be a bit more concerned. They were twins. They were preterm.
Okay.
And he said, "We're too known." He said what he was concerned about was their birth weight, and he thought their birth weight was very good for twins. I mean, it was very good. It was 2.05, 2.27, and for him it was perfect. So we can go home. And so we go home, and then by 2 days, I noticed that the yellow was yellowing.
Yeah.
And then I raised the alarm and had to rush the child to the hospital and all that, only to realize that, okay, they were jaundiced. And then you're referred to Kolibu. They had to be under the photo, by which time one of them was also having some other infections and all that. It was a whole struggle.
It's a complication.
And then I met the doctor. Then I said, all that is coming is yours. Come and collect it. And so I matched him. Like, I wasn't going to let him go. I matched him back to Niku and to go and see the children. And that was when he said, oh, they'll be fine. He's sorry. But yeah, when he examined them, they thought they were okay and blah, blah, blah and all that. And this is a pediatrician. And those are some of the mistakes that some of our health workers can do, even at that high level. And then you end up rendering somebody's child paralyzed for life and putting the parents under this extreme pressure. And if you're, a lot of people have lost their homes because of some of these things. Yeah. The men can't stand it, and then they end up leaving the women with the children. I've had several of those situations, and we've had several conversations here. So I'm very happy we are creating this awareness, and it's important that we push it very hard and find ways, even if it means, find ways, corporate organizations, young women who are planning to get married. Should we even make some of these things a part of the counseling sessions, that eventually when you get married and you're having your babies, look out for this? We need to find all the avenues possible to be able to educate people on some of these things before they okay. The things that concern children, the way it enters my heart, I don't take it lightly at all. There was another question I wrote down. So then again, you're realizing from what Michael is saying that not everybody goes through the checklist, the general one that you even have before discharging the baby. Once they look at you, they think you're okay, the child is okay, go home. Sometimes the same day you deliver, that same day they ask you to go home because there's no space.
That's true.
And then you have to go home, and then you go, and then there are so many complications. So all of these things will have to be looked at. Okay, but I think we'll come back to this one later. Well, I was going to ask that he was expecting some other forms of treatment when they realized that the child had cerebral palsy, or neonatal jaundice was confirmed. He was expecting some other things because he had read, and those things didn't happen. He went back home, and then he realized that the child was deteriorating, and then took the child back to the hospital. And by which time it was too late to get into any other intervention, apart from probably doing physio and a few other things just to make the child's life a bit more comfortable. So when we come back to look at the the courses, the treatment and all, I'd want to find out what other treatments could be given. I'm sure you're a bit surprised at how I'm going at this. Okay. Madam Prisla, how is baby Kote doing?
Please, baby Kote, he's fine.
Baby Kote is fine. And he's how many months old now?
Baby Kote is 2 months, 2 weeks.
Okay. So listening to Michael's story, how are you feeling before you tell me about baby Kote?
Oh. I was pregnant.
No, I'm saying that listening to Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel knowing that your child went through the same thing, but he is fine?
I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Good. So how did you find out that your baby had neonatal jaundice?
Well, I was pregnant, so I went to hospital to give birth. So after giving birth, and I was in the hospital, so first day I didn't see the neonatal jaundice. Second day, and I saw it. So
how did you see it?
Like, I saw that the baby's eyes was yellow and the face too was yellow.
Wow.
So I called the
And that was
doctor.
not how he was when you gave birth to him, the first day? Okay.
No. So, like the second day, and I called one of the doctors to come and check for me.
Okay.
So they came to check, and the doctor told me that I should send the baby to Nico.
Okay, so in your case,
Yeah.
you didn't go home right after delivery.
No.
You were still in the hospital.
Yes, please.
Was something wrong with you?
No.
You were okay.
Yes, please.
So I would say that's what probably saved her, because she wasn't rushed out of the hospital. Then she noticed, and because if you went home, I'm sure the doctors in the house too will say that, oh, it's nothing, and then would have had problems. Please continue.
So after I went to Nico, and they said I should leave baby Kote in Nico. I said, why can I leave? How can I leave baby Kote in Nico and go home? And I said, you have to leave baby Kote in Nico so that they can keep baby Kote in the light machine so that you will get well.
Did they tell you what was wrong with him?
Yes, please.
They told you.
Yes, please.
You understood it.
Yes, please.
Okay, good.
So after I sent baby Kote to Nico, and they said I can go home and come. And I said, going home and coming.
Is that your first child?
No. Baby Kote is my second.
Okay.
So going home and coming back is a problem
In fact,
to me. And they said, you have no choice, so you have to keep baby Kote in the light machine. I said, okay, then I'll go home and come. So one of the doctor called me and said, don't worry, everything will be fine. And I said, okay. So anytime I go home and come back, then I'll come and breast pump the pumping machine. I will come and breast pump the pumping machine, and I'll put it down. They will keep it down for me. They'll keep it down for me. So after that, and they told me that anytime I have to come and pump the pumping.
So
machine.
I get it. So he was put under the
light
photo,
machine, yes.
and then you were going home and coming. How
Yes,
long
please.
was he under the photo?
2 weeks.
2 whole weeks.
Yes, please.
Wow. And every time you come, were you given a situational report? Like, were you told that he was getting better and all that?
Please. Yes, please.
Were you seeing that he was getting better?
Yes, please.
Okay. And when he was under the photo for those 2 weeks, you were always getting him breast milk?
Yes, please.
Was that all he was on?
Yes, please.
He was taking only breast milk?
No, he was taking none.
Oh, okay. He was on formula too?
Yes, please.
Okay. And so after 2 weeks, they said he was okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. So tell me, after 2 weeks when they said he was okay, what happened?
After 2 weeks, and they said it's okay, so I can send baby Kote home, so that when I get home, I have to breastfeed baby Kote every 2 hours.
Okay.
I have to continue breastfeeding baby Kote every 2 hours. And I said, okay, I have no problem. And they told me that I have to send during daytime.
Yeah.
I should bring baby Kote
And give him a sun
and give
bath.
him a sun bath in the morning. Early
You
in
did
the
that also
morning.
for how long?
I did for just 1 week.
Is that what they told you? Or you, after 1 week, you got tired? How long were you asked to do it for?
They didn't tell me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did it for a week?
Yes, please.
And then you thought that... so after 1 week, did you go back to the hospital?
No, please.
Eh? So from then, you haven't gone to see the doctors with baby Kote again?
No.
Doc, is that the right thing to do?
So that's not what we do. But I don't know if she didn't. Probably she didn't understand the word sunbath. Because we don't advise sunbath. Actually, we don't.
Oh, really?
We don't. It's something we are even campaigning against at the moment. Because if we think a child is jaundiced enough based on our lab tests, we'll just do the phototherapy. If we think that the level is not high enough, we think it will clear on its own, we will discharge the baby home. However, what we tell you is that when you go home in the morning, come out and look at the skin. So not come and leave the child in the sun for maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour. Because sometimes people keep the babies in the rooms and the rooms are dim. So they can't really see when the skin is getting yellow because the rooms are dim. Some of them even have blue lights and things, so they can't see. So it's time to bring the child out in the morning and evening so that they can see the skin. Not to sunbath, but to just observe. So that if the skin is yellow, they can come back for us to do the necessary tests. If we think based on our tests is high enough to require phototherapy, will do that, because it's not every jaundice that we even treat with phototherapy. Sometimes it may be physiological and not too high, so we think that it would clear on its own with adequate feeding, child is fine. But if we think the levels are high, that's when we admit and then do the phototherapy. So we don't do sunbathing. Yes.
Hey, so all of us who were advised to go and do sunbathing, where did they hear it from?
I don't know. Because the concepts of phototherapy, the concepts probably originally came from sunbathing. But if you look at the thing, you can't leave your child in the sun the whole of the 24 hours, right? But phototherapy machine has been programmed such that there's a particular wavelength that you really need, and that is what it gives to the child's skin. And it can be done 24 hours. You can't do sunbathing 24 hours. And you can't be monitoring the child's bilirubin levels at home. That is why we do that for you and the hospital admits if we need to. If we don't need to, just tell you go home, feed. And once you are feeding, the child is feeding well, passing stools, and help with the reducing, I don't want to use any technical terms, but helps to reduce. If the child is not feeding well, there is stasis in the guts. There is the absorption of the bilirubin from the guts back into the blood. So then jaundice would also occur to get worse. But if the child is feeding well, excreting, passing stools, then it's clearing the bilirubin from the system. So what we advise you rather is to go and feed, as she said, like feed every 2 hours. Make sure that you're clearing the guts. Any bilirubin that is in the intestines comes out. So we actually don't. Maybe she misunderstood the observing for sunbathing, but we don't advise sunbath.
No, she didn't misunderstand it. Yes,
we don't
Michael.
advise sunbathing.
I don't think I agree with her.
At
We
all.
were told specifically.
Exactly,
Yes.
me too.
They even asked me the type of house we live in and the space where we can get sunlight, adequate sunlight in the morning.
Okay.
Then when I mentioned that the porch has enough light, they told me to get a basket or get something that I can place him in and be turning him over time.
You see?
So
Yeah.
it was something
You're
we
going
were
to grill
advised.
the child.
Yes. For about, they said when the sun appears up to 8 thereabouts.
Yes.
Early morning.
You see that she's
Early in the
confirming.
morning.
Yes.
Yes.
So I got a basket, put a small foam in it and made it comfortable enough
For baby.
so that I will be turning him. And we had to invite grandma over from the village so that when we are not around or when mommy is busy doing other things for him, she could be helping in the turning and other things.
The
So it
baby,
was
wow.
something we were told. We were instructed to do such.
No, Dr. Futa.
Because currently, perhaps at the time he gave birth, or I don't know where he got the
This is
information.
just 4 years ago.
I'm saying that currently where I am, we don't advise that, and it's even as part of our campaign this year. Because as I said, he said that sunbathing you end at 8 a.m. Meanwhile, physiotherapy that we are doing is an intensive one, sometimes like 24 hours non-stop. So you can't compare 2 hours of sunbathing to 24 hours of physiotherapy.
We agree, but what we're saying is that if I'm going to ask my listeners, I mean, if you were ever told to do sunbathing, you probably want us to know. I mean, we're learning every day.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And I'm hearing this for the very first time ever.
Yes. What he's saying, I know that probably in other health facilities where they don't have the physiotherapy, maybe in other places they may advise that, but currently what the current teaching,
Is that
not what is in the past, current.
it doesn't cure
Is that it's not that it doesn't cure it.
it's not the way to go.
Because if you go and bring your child out, maybe sun comes out in the morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's only 2 hours.
Yes.
You might not get the adequate amount that you need. Because sometimes if it's intense, if the jaundice is severe, we would want you to put the child under like 24 hours, not even breaking to feed. We'll just part a tube and then be feeding the child through the tube. No break to feed or even carry the baby. You can't do that at home.
I see. No, we're not arguing with you. You are the health expert. You are the champion here. You're the one who is teaching us. But we're just telling you not what, I mean, should I say what we know? We didn't learn it on
This
our
is what
own.
you are told by a health worker. But so our education is not only targeting the public, but also other. That's why I mentioned earlier. It's for all of us, not just even including other health workers. Because I've heard of people saying, "Oh, they were told by health workers elsewhere to do what they
consultant pediatricians."
Now we don't, because if based on the explanation I gave you, we don't. If we think the child doesn't need physiotherapy, that 2 hours will not really do much anyway.
Okay.
But if the child needs it, then would admit and then do it.
Okay. So yeah, I got a message. Neonatal jaundice is a very dire condition for newborn babies. Newborn babies should be cleared by the neonatal doctors before they are discharged, and that is what we usually do not see. And in the case where you're getting doctors even tell parents who are a bit more observant that they are too known, we have problems. This one says that, oh, how did I miss the message? The person was talking about Michael. Okay. The person was talking about Michael that, oh, my word. Okay. So I think that I'm scrolling and my technical team is also scrolling. So when you settle, let me know. Now, the question, we didn't answer the question. Okay, let's just say that she didn't even do the sunbath. They cleared her in the hospital after 2 weeks and was asked to go home and was told to do sunbath. I mean, in her case. And after 1 week, she discontinued. Hasn't gone back to the hospital after for baby to be checked and all that. Is that the way to go?
So normally we give you review dates after the discharge.
Were you given?
Yes.
Did
please.
you go? Hey, someone find me a kin. Hey, Prisla.
Yes, madam.
My name is Edem. After 2 weeks, after baby being under photo for 2 weeks, you were asked to go home and asked to do sunbath. Dr. Futa is telling us that the sunbath criteria is not inside. And you were given a review date. And you haven't taken baby Kote for review.
No.
Hey, Prisla. Okay, I got a message. What are you doing? Okay. Can you just leave this thing alone for me to... I see a message on the soundbar thing. Edem, the sunbathing is very true. I gave birth to my triplets in 1998. It was recommended, which we did. Okay. New studies are showing that. Doc is telling us that the 2 hours of sunbathing, if you were ever advised, really won't be able to do much. If they have to clear neonatal jaundice, then the baby is under the photo 24 hours intense. And she's saying that sometimes you don't even break to take baby out to feed. You pass tubes and feed baby through it. So what we are learning this morning is that sunbathing is really not what is curing neonatal jaundice. And they're not advising that anymore. Doesn't mean that what we were told, that we weren't told, we were told. It's just that it's not the way to go anymore. Now let's come back to Prisla's case. She's supposed to go back for her review. Prisla, are you going on Monday or tomorrow?
Yes, please. I'll go.
No, when are you going? Because I'm going to ensure that you go.
Very important.
When are you going? Tomorrow or Monday or after here?
After here, I'll
immediately. Go. Are you a doctor?
No, please.
Mami wepa.
It's by God's grace.
It is God who gives doctors the wisdom.
Yes.
Right? To do the things that they are doing.
Yes.
So when your baby went under the photo for 2 weeks and you were taking the child, you took the child home and you were given a date to come back for the child to be reviewed and fully cleared, you don't play with it. It's one of the things that we also do. Then we'll end up blaming everybody around us. So right after here, take the child to the hospital and let them ensure that your baby is fully cleared of jaundice. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for the child.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay.
I'm going to call you to ensure that you have been there and the child is fully cleared. It's important. You're hearing Michael's story. He did everything he had to do. It's just that people were laxed about it. And then here we are. I mean, just about a couple of weeks ago, I ended a series of show I was doing. I call it 40 Weeks and More. I was talking about pregnancy, childbirth, and all that. And Hannah was on the show. Her child is 11. Neonatal jaundice. She didn't know. She said she'll carry her child at her back, and then the child's neck is hanging like that. And somebody asked, check your child's neck. And then, she will just adjust it and think that, it's because. But it was constantly like that. The only time she woke up to it was when she took the child for, postnatal care. And what we call the weigh-in. And I think the baby was like 9 months at the time. And saw all the other 9 months old babies were able to do, and her baby couldn't, And that's when they started asking questions and realized that, he had neonatal jaundice that was never detected. And then by which time it was just too late to do anything. It was just too late to do anything. Yeah. The child, as at the time we talked, we had the show. I mean, it's on TV. It's 11 years. Still carry her like a baby and everything. And it's so painful seeing the struggles the child, is going through just to live, because it was undetected. And it was her first child. So if I never heard about it, I never heard about it. If I don't know what it is, I don't know what it is. And newborn mothers, if you don't know some of these things, when you go home, you are saddled with baby crying, let me change baby, let me feed baby. Yeah. And that's what we are excited about. Yes. And you just may not be able to pay attention to. What am I even paying attention to when I don't know anything?
You don't know about it.
Yes. You see, when I don't know anything. So this awareness creation is really, 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 really very important to me. My son had this baby jaundice thing. Reading around it, I realized it was a rhesus factor thing. I was told to put baby out with the early morning sun till 7:30 a.m. Sun bath again. It worked after a week. Good morning. Okay. And this was in 2004. So, Doc, you have heard about the sun bath yourself,
yes,
right?
I have. I told you that the concept of phototherapy came from that. But if you look, because of the levels of the bilirubin, what she wants to achieve, you can't get that from just sunbathing.
Okay.
So not that it doesn't bring it down, but it will not be significant. And maybe if a child has very, very high bilirubin levels, you can't achieve normal levels with just sunbathing alone. I mean, for a lot of babies, maybe theirs might not be so severe. So with that sunbathing, a little help, and then it clears. But for those who really need it, that would not solve their problem.
Okay. So now we're going to go back to start the conversation with you. Mm-hmm. But let me read a few more messages. My boy was preterm, 28 weeks. He was so tiny. God bless the pediatric nurses and doctors at UGMC. I don't know how they discovered but that my boy was jaundiced while he was in the incubator. He did the photo for 3 weeks, but stayed in the incubator for 3 months. I'm sure that's how, once it is detected early and the right interventions are put in place, it really isn't a challenge. This one says, unfortunately, she hasn't gone back because they didn't know the severity of the baby's condition. That's so true. But I'm sure she's learning it now. And after here, I'm going to march her to the hospital real quick. My son-in-law and my daughter were specifically told by a doctor to sunbath my first grandson. So, Doc is saying that she's not disputing it. And even that's where the concept of the phototherapy came from. The only thing is that the effectiveness of the phototherapy, you won't get it from the 30 minutes, 1 hour sunbath at 7:30. That's what you're saying. Okay, so now we've put the conversation into perspective. Now, Doc, tell us. Neonatal jaundice. Where is it from? Why can't I just get pregnant and give birth to my child and take my child home? What is this one?
So neonatal jaundice, because first of all, neonates, their system is a little different from maybe an adult system. Right from their red blood cells, their organs, their liver immaturity. So when they're in the mother's womb, maybe they have this bilirubin in the system. The mother's blood clears it.
What is bilirubin? I know it, but what is
so
it? Don't assume we all know.
It's a pigment.
First, do you know bilirubin? No. Okay, doc.
So it's this yellow pigment that makes the skin appear yellow when they have the jaundice. And it is gotten from the breakdown of red blood cells, mainly. So anything that causes the red blood cells to break down faster would going to increase the bilirubin levels. And when it is broken down, it has to be cleared from the system by the liver. So for maybe a neonate, the liver is not as mature as an adult liver, so it cannot clear it out faster. And then for the preterms, because they are younger, their livers are less mature than even the term babies. So then they have a higher risk of the neonatal jaundice, because their livers are even more immature compared to a full-term baby. Yeah. So then these are one of the main factors. And also after it has been, they produce the bilirubin from the breakdown of the red blood cells, the liver tries to clear it. And then as it is being cleared, some of it enters into the intestines. Then if it stays there for too long, it can be reabsorbed back into the blood again.
Is this when they are still in the womb?
No, when they come out. So in the womb, the bilirubin is cleared by the mother's system. So because the mother's system does basically everything for the child in terms of excretion, provision of oxygen, nutrition. So when the child comes out, now they have to do things for themselves. So that is when the problem comes, because a lot of the times, so even the neonatal jaundice is quite common. For 10 babies, I think about 60% tends to get it. For patients, about 80%. But not all of them are severe enough to warrant hospital admission or end up in Mr. Michael's case. So when they are born, their red blood cells are not like the adult red blood cells. So then it's breaking down more faster than how the adult red blood cell will break down. So once it's breaking down, that means you have more bilirubin being released into the system. When it's released into the system, their livers are not very mature, so they can't clear it faster. Then also, for some of them, when they come, maybe during the first 24, 48 hours, they're not really feeding well. They're not breastfeeding well. So then it stays in the gut longer, then it is reabsorbed into the bloodstream again.
Sometimes mommy is even not producing milk.
So all these factors increase the risk of neonatal jaundice. However, there are people who have a higher risk of neonatal jaundice. Like, I think someone mentioned about the resource incompatibility. Yeah. So the blood group, you have it being maybe a person can have blood group A, B, or O. That's A, B, so if the mother happens to be blood group O and the child is either A or B, with that incompatibility can cause the antibodies produced on the mother to break down the red blood cells of the child. So because of that difference in the blood group, that can cause the neonatal jaundice. Also for others, it can be resource where, the blood group, it can be A positive or A negative. So that positive and negative, that's a resource factor. So for those who have, if your mother is resource negative and she has a resource positive child, that can also cause a breakdown of the red blood cells, causing the jaundice. So coming back, the red blood cells, if you take a human being's blood, is water and then some cells. So the cells, you could have some of them are red. That is why we call them red blood cells. They have this red pigment that makes them appear red. So they are the ones that are broken down in terms of this neonatal jaundice. So the blood is not just water, it has cells and other electrolytes. So we're talking about these cells in the blood that make it appear red. They are the red blood cells. So they are the ones that are broken down to release this bilirubin and then causing this jaundice. So the factors that cause the breakdown, the blood group incompatibility, like the ABO. If your mother is O, so you could have a blood group A, blood group B, or blood group O, right? Some can even be AB. So if your mother is blood group O, and then the child is blood group A, it can occur. Yeah. If your mother is O, the child is blood group B, it can occur. If your mother is O, child is AB, it can occur. But if the mother is blood group, let's say O, child is O, then you don't have a risk of ABO incompatibility because they are all the same blood group. If your mother is A, child is A, also the risk is not there because they are the same. Then you come to resource factor. If your mother is resource negative, that means let's say she's O negative and the child is O positive, that negative and positive also would lead to that resource incompatibility that will cause a breakdown of the red blood cells. And for resource especially, normally the first child who is born may escape without any complications, but the subsequent ones. So that is why we advise that during the antenatal, among the tests that you do is a blood group. So if you realize that the mother has the resource incompatibility, there is a medication that we give, that's the Rogam, so that will prevent her from building antibodies to the child's blood group next time, so that in subsequent pregnancies she will not be producing antibodies that will break down the child's red blood cells.
We learn every day.
Yes.
My brother and his wife went through a similar thing, and we lost that baby. It was a struggle, and they were telling you about resource incompatibility, but you really didn't understand it. But later you get to understand that, oh, this is it, you know. So all of these things are there, and we need to learn every single day. So, Doc, I will ask you the next question, because now we are doing all the education around it. But there's a message here that says, I had a girl, and this broke my heart. I had a girl with the same problem. For the sun bath, we were asked to do that daily. She was later admitted to NICU at 37 for a month before we were discharged. After months, we noticed there was a problem with her. We followed all the instructions given by the hospital, but the health status couldn't be restored. For the 6 years before she passed on, it was hell. I just wish parents with these challenges the best. This issue can destroy your marriage, yes, can break down your family, and it comes with a lot of name calling. Of course, in very ignorant societies, you've eaten your child. The child couldn't talk, raise the head, couldn't move. The child just couldn't do anything. We saw it very early, but the support from the hospital came in late. And that's how the child struggled, and they lost her after 6 years. If you're not resourced, you will run and leave the child. Let me hold on here. Oh, Stephen, I'm so sorry about what you had to go through. And thank you for sharing for purposes of education. We appreciate you. So this one says, my son was born jaundiced. It was so severe that blood transfusion was done for the baby. This was done after a series of tests well conducted on him. So you know that it is quite a common condition, yet uncommon, because there's not so much education around it, and not too many people know it too. So we have to continue doing this education. Doc, I know you've planned to do your awareness only, in May, right?
Yes.
But every once in a while, we should have these conversations.
That's very true.
We should be having these conversations regularly. So, if this is two things, now I want you to answer both. We are running out of time. If it is detected early, so apart from the yellow signs that you see, the yellowing of the eyes and the skin, are there any other ways that you are able to notice that this child may be suffering from neonatal jaundice?
So jaundice basically means the yellowing of the skin. So then the child would appear jaundiced. Okay. But the other signs or symptoms that you pick up are the child may probably have poor feeding, maybe sleeping more than usual, have an abnormal cry, have an abnormal posture. So all these are like in severe cases.
How about restlessness?
Restlessness, well, some of them may be, most of the time, they are more of lethargic than
being restless.
Yes, they become, maybe you realize the child is not feeding the whole day, the child is just sleeping very weak. That is what you would pick up. Also, a child who was probably feeding well now cannot even suck the breast milk well. So that's also that there's something going on. Some of them too may have a fever, because one of the things that can cause a breakdown of red blood cells is an infection. Okay. So if they have an infection with the bacteria in the system, red blood cells can be broken down, also leading to the jaundice again. And also one thing I want to mention is that we also advise against putting camphor in the children's clothes, because some people are born.
Why do they do that?
They don't want the smell of maybe insects and then other odors to be in the child's thing, so they put camphor inside. Some mothers actually do that.
I see.
Yes, people keep camphor at home to avoid insects.
Yes,
and all that.
Know,
so,
but in the clothes of the child.
So they put it inside where they keep the child's clothes to avoid to keep away insects.
I see.
And sometimes when they do that, some of the children have this condition we call G6PD food defect, where they don't have an enzyme. They lack an enzyme in their red blood cells. So because of that, when they are exposed to camphor, their red blood cells are broken down. So, and this camphor, people put it in like a lot of household
water.
Exactly. Sugar, water, just to keep insects away.
In sugar too.
Yes, in sugar.
Yes, people do that.
Don't laugh at me, because usually I know that we drop it in our sinks sometimes. Now, sugar and water there.
People keep it in all those places.
Why is it edible?
It's not edible, but it's
it repels.
It evaporates, releasing gases that repel these insects.
I'm hearing this for the first time.
So because of that, some children, when they're exposed to this, even and for those with G6PD, when they're exposed to this camphor, then they also break down their red blood cells, which causes the jaundice as well. So for them, we advise that even after the neonatal period, you make sure that you keep camphor away from them. It's not just for the neonatal period, like throughout their life.
G6PD is another conversation we will be looking at having. But okay, so two things. Now we know what it is, how it can be detected. If detected early, what are some of the interventions? And if not, what are the consequences?
So if detected early, the main treatments that we do, we start with the phototherapy. That is putting the child inside the blue light. So we put the child, and the aim is to expose as much of the child's skin as possible to the light. So the child is, basically naked, just wearing a diaper and the eyes covered, so that you don't expose the light to too much ultraviolet rays from the phototherapy units. So strip the child off almost naked, put the child in the lights. That would be the treatment for the child. And the more time you have under the light, the better your outcome, because that is like you are giving the higher dose of the treatments of the phototherapy. Then
could there be an overdose?
mean, for children, if once we observe every day and we think that the jaundice is cleared, we stop. Because sometimes if you go beyond the time, the child may appear bronze. You can give the child maybe a few skin irritation or bronzing of the skin, but those ones are minor issues. It's not really a major thing. So, then aside that, if there is the level is too high, that we think that we want to bring it down instantly, that is when we go for the exchange transfusion, where you get blood and then basically taking out the child blood and giving the child new blood to take out all the blood that has the bilirubin, to give the child just fresh blood to start from. That's it. And also, if there are other underlying causes of the jaundice, like an infection, we treat that as well. So during that phase, we also want to ensure that there's adequate hydration and adequate nutrition. So even if the child is being kept under the light 24 hours, that you can't take out and breastfeed as much as you want to, we'll pass a tube and be feeding to make sure that the gut is not empty at any point in time.
Okay. And all of this is also based on early detection.
Yes.
So now, if not detected early, what are the likely consequences?
So if not detected early, one of the likely consequences is what Mr. Mike Say talked about in his situation. So if not detected early, for in neonates, their organs are not fully developed. And for every human being, there is a barrier between the blood and the brain, so that things do not cross freely. But for neonates, that's newborns, that barrier hasn't really formed well. So because of that, substances from the blood easily cross into the brain. So for a neonate, if we don't detect it early or we don't do the right treatments early, this whatever is causing the skin to appear yellow crosses over into the child's brain and it stains the brain and then affects the brain's function. So some of them can end up even dying in that period.
Wow.
Within the neonatal period. Others, those who survive that extreme levels, also end up with lifelong complications. Sure. So those are the main things that we are worried about. And unlike an adult that has a well-formed blood-brain barrier, that even the adult is jaundice from maybe other causes, we are not worried about it crossing into the brain. For a neonate, that barrier isn't fully formed, so then things easily move freely. And until I mean, for 10 babies, probably until the first month is over, so the risk is there. So that is why we are focused on neonatal jaundice to prevent this, and this is something that is preventable. So we don't want to wait and watch on for it to happen when you can easily prevent it.
Okay, great. Kwesi Agatha, I beg you, please don't be upset. I won't intentionally ignore your message, and you shouldn't have deleted the messages. Please. He says that I won't contribute again. You're not reading my messages. There are so many of them. I'm trying to read as many as possible, and if I don't get to read yours, it's not deliberate. I am not ignoring your message deliberately. Please pardon me. My daughter crawled on all 4 limbs for 7 years. We prayed. We prayed and prayed till one hallowed morning. The good Lord raised her. Wow. I'm sure you were putting in the interventions as well. Someone is asking, is there any lab test? Good morning, Adam. Is there any lab test that can be carried out on every baby before they are discharged from hospital? This comfort stuff, I am lucky to be alive. It was detected that I have GCPD at age 27 when I joined a company, and it was part of the information for my ID. I asked what it was before it was explained to me. Okay. Doc, someone is asking if there are, there are tests that are carried on newborns before they are asked to go home.
So for the investigations that we do the serum bilirubin levels to look out for the levels of bilirubin in the child's blood. We do the child's the blood group resource factor, then also just a full blood count. And the thing with neonatal jaundice is that it may not be there on the first day. So even if it is done on the day 1 of delivery, you might not pick up anything. However, for most of them, it starts day 2, day 3. I mean, in some cases where they have like this AB incompatibility, theirs may start within the first 24 hours. That one is obviously pathological. But for those whose own is probably due to they liver immaturity because they are just newborns, theirs may start within day 2, day 3. So for them, even if you do the test on day 1, you might not pick up. That is why we advise that even after you are discharged and you go home, look out for it, because at the time that we are seeing it may not be there, but it will come when you go home.
All right. Thank you.
So the tests that we do most of the time is blood tests. However, there are machines that can be used to check just from the skin without actually taking a blood sample. So as part of our campaign this month, we also try to raise awareness and also help also raise funds to buy some of these machines for a lot of facilities so that it can be detected easily. Right. We're also trying to raise awareness and also raise funds to procure more phototherapy units, because a lot of facilities do not have the lights. A lot of them don't have it. And even in the tertiary centers, even if they're available, they are not many. So there are times where patients come and you have to now look through and see who needs them more.
Oh dear.
It happens.
Great.
You get 3 or 4 babies who are all jaundice. Now you have to now choose who you think needs it more than the other.
And everybody needs it.
Yes, exactly.
So this morning we have been talking about newborns, neonatal jaundice, and more. And thank you all very much for contributing. This just helped to make the conversation so real. Now, let me share with you the joy of every parent is to see their children grow healthy and become more intelligent and physically fit. To achieve this desire, every parent needs to ensure that their children are given nutritious foods that has the essential nutrients that can promote their well-being. And one of these is the Vitamilk soy milk drink. It is made from whole grain soybean. It has omega-3, 6, and 9, and it is also enriched with calcium and all the essential nutrients that you will need for your daily living. It has no colorings, no artificial flavorings, and no preservatives. So why don't you go for the Vitamilk Champ for your children? Because the protein, calcium, and omega-3, 6, and 9 have all proven to help your adorable children grow smarter, healthier, and stronger every day. You can buy it in the regular soy milk drink, also in the energy booster with no caffeine, choco, banana, strawberry. It is packaged in 250 mils and 1 liter Tetra Pak. Vitamilk is indeed a nutritious beverage that feels good anywhere, anytime. Are you ready to drive innovation and take the next step in your career? Apply for Ashesi University's Master's Program, which combines world-class education with African relevance. Regardless of your career aspirations, an Ashesi Master's Program equips you with the skills, ethics, and networks to lead boldly. Applications are open for our 2025 cohorts. Learn more about this at ashesi.edu.gh. And this August, Adanse Travels is turning up their excitement as part of its 12 years of delivering unforgettable travel experiences. Get ready to see more, feel more, and explore some of the world's most exciting destinations. From fun-filled family adventures to Dubai to romantic getaways in Asia, thrilling escapes with friends in South Africa, or that long-awaited dream trip across Europe. It's not just travel, it's an experience you'll never forget. Call Adanse Travels now on 0595 500817 or 0531 008 550, or you can simply visit adansetravels.com to book your sports. Let's make memories together this August. Adanse at 12. See more, feel more. Once again, the joy of every parent is to ensure that their children are growing very healthy, ensuring that they are intelligent and they are also physically fit. And again, I recommend a Vitamilk soy milk drink for you and your children, because it is made from whole grain soybean, which is a good source of plant protein. It is enriched with omega-3, 6, and 9. It has calcium and all the essential nutrients needed for your daily living. It has no artificial flavorings, no colorants, and no preservatives. And for 20 years, Vitamilk has delivered on this promise. So why don't you go and get the Vitamilk Charm for your children? Because the protein, calcium, and omega-3, 6, and 9 in there have all proven to help your adorable children grow healthier, smarter, and stronger every day. It comes in the regular soy milk drink, also with the energy and the energy booster with no caffeine, the choco, the banana, the strawberry. Those are all the flavors it comes in. You can buy it in the 250 mils or the 1 liter Tetra Pak. Vitamilk is indeed a nutritious beverage that feels good anywhere, anytime. And this is where we're going to wrap up on Home Affairs. But quickly, let me start with you, Prisla. Prisla, what have you learned and what promise are you making to us when it comes to Baby Kote this morning?
I've learned that when your baby had jaundice, you need to rush the baby to the hospital quickly.
Okay. So what are you going to do now?
Now I'll go back to Nico with Baby Kote.
You. Immediately you?
Yes.
You are
please.
Hearing the stories?
Yes, please.
Okay. Michael?
Hi. I will plead that, like she was saying, we should get more phototherapy machines, because I remember we were about 27 using only 4 machines.
Dear.
So at a certain time, it became a battle among the mothers, and I had to secure one for my baby. You can imagine, she was there with him, and she was not able to get access. So I had to go there. I actually called my bosses at work and said I wasn't coming to work for that time. And I stayed in the hospital securing the machine just to be able to take her. And like I was saying, it was really high, 600 something.
Wow.
So it was really a difficult moment. I had to make sure I was with them throughout. And I've continued to be up to now. I pray that we'll get more phototherapy machines
for
to
the
help.
children.
And the health experts should listen.
Oh.
Where we see certain things, even with our little knowledge, they should
listen.
try and come halfway through to help us.
Sometimes
it's
truth
not
is
easy.
The children are ours and we know them better. You know how the child was. So if the child is changing, you know. So if I come to tell you, you just indulge me, listen, pay a bit more attention, and advise me on what to do, other than just dismiss the parents and say, oh, you are too known, it is nothing. Only to realize after a couple of days that it actually is something. Doc, finally, we're out of time.
Yes. So finally, my final comment is, as Mr. Michael said, we need to raise more funds also. So if you'd want to help this newborn jaundice awareness, which is being organized by Pediatric Society of Ghana in conjunction with 37 Military Hospital Pediatric Departments, you can come to us and then make your donation in terms of getting us with therapy units or the Billigan machine, which is just to test, which is used to check the jaundice on the child's skin to give us an actual value. So with that, we can all help in this neonatal jaundice awareness and then also treatment for our young ones.
Do you have artworks that you're flying for the awareness creation with the contact on it and everything?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you share with
so
me. We'll put it on our social media pages as our contribution to the campaign, so that people can support it.
Yes, please. And one other thing, I think I saw on the screen someone saying that in tropical Ghana, what do you need phototherapy for? So phototherapy is not about heating the baby or grilling the baby. The aim is we are not cooking the baby, so it's not about how hot Ghana is.
I know.
The aim is to expose the child's skin to ultraviolet rays, which can be gotten from the sun. So if you realize the units that we use, the modern ones, they don't produce too much heat. It's just that UV light we need that will break down the bilirubin. So phototherapy is not about heating or cooking babies. So tropical Ghana, we still need phototherapy.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Priscilla, for coming. Priscilla, you are taking baby Kote to the hospital.
No problem.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you all very much for coming to
Thank you.
share.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you.
The other